going on YouTube? I've been seeing a lot of news lately, right? Especially in this post-COVID kind of era, that a lot of people, the demographic has been extended out to encompass different age groups, obviously different, races, or ethnic groups. A lot of people, no matter who you are and what you're doing, are steadily getting sick. Stage 3, stage 4 type of cancers. Sicknesses that develop people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, obviously going all the way up. Getting colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, brain cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, ALS, MS, like all this stuff. We always look to medicine. We always look to chemo, different, inorganic types of therapies. If we're talking about prevention, right, we're just talking about having a organic diet, limiting alcohol, limiting smoking, having a regular exercise. So you hear stuff like that, right? I look at a person like Chadwick Boseman. He's not old, and it looked like assumed decent shape physically, right? For a lot of the roles he was playing. Like, I look at people like that, I'm like, how do they die at 42, 43 years old? I look at certain people, how do they die, or how do they get cardiac arrest? I know a lot of people that I've talked to who had strokes at my age. So I look at all this stuff and I'm like, why is this continually happening? Like, 15, 20 years ago, most of this stuff wouldn't happen until you're 55, 60, at least. You can do whatever you want. Nothing's gonna catch up to you until you're damn near retirement age, and that's not the case anymore. So that got scary for me, right? Because high blood pressure, diabetes, that runs in a part of my family, So it's like, how do I look at prevention for me? And I'm just starting to realize, and no matter what you do, less is more. I'm gonna start thinking that, applying that in my day-to-day mindset, less is more. And what I mean by that is, with reference to medical care, health oppression, and prevention, like, it's like, what is the basic things I need to do, or the basic things I could talk about, or I could agree with, right? And the less is more concept with health is eat less, just consume less. I think of my body, and I think many people are trying to move in that era, right? With the whole science debate, especially post-COVID, right? Because now you're hearing with post-COVID, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna get into that. There's a lot of stuff that happened that shouldn't have happened. Overconsumption, even with diets. Even if you eat vegetables and eat, whole fibers, and you have, organic fruits, right? You take antibiotics, or what do you call it? Vitamins and supplements for vitamin D. Like, you do all this stuff, people still get sick. When people think doing something for free or simple, like they're like, nah, there's a catch to it. But our bodies are natural. Like, our bodies are organic. Simple thing is fasting, right? Or doing a water fast is like a conundrum. But I'm telling you, man, like, stuff, just natural things that people take things for free for granted. Because you think of, you have traditions, you have different ways of thinking, like, okay, if you don't eat for a certain amount of time, you're gonna get weak. You're not gonna get enough protein, right? You're gonna get stressed, right? You're gonna get angry because You're not putting energy in your body. You're gonna get tired, right? So people are like, no, like why would you do that? Why would I not eat for 12 hours? Or why would I not eat for 18 hours? Or why in the hell would I not eat for 24, 36 hours? Right? And it's insane when you start thinking in a reverse osmosis type of way. If all this other stuff isn't working or isn't preventing like it should, I think life is made of loopholes, and that's a loophole. Like that's the most natural thing anybody can ever do is eat less, have a smaller window of eating, right? With a certain frequency. Some people do the fasting, the IF, the intermittent fasting daily. Some people go and do a 1 to 2 day fast weekly. Some people may do a couple days every couple months, but they're getting into a phase of autophagy. They're getting into a phase of cleaning up their system. It's a way of life. It isn't something you just do and then you don't do. There should be a frequency with it. Again, some people do 16 and 8, 16 hours not eating, 8 hours of eating. Just simply not having your kidneys, your liver, your gut at work, every 2 to 3 hours of the day, the waking day, can prevent terminal illness. That's a miracle, just like giving birth, right? Like there's just certain things, that science, right? Science, you know, the science, the idea of medicine backed by scientific study, just it can't compete with. I'm hearing cases from everybody, all these actors, right, who have access to the best medical care, access to the best training facilities because of their job. They're getting sick. Everybody's getting sick, you know? And it's crazy. And environment plays a part, right? The American system, you know, compulsive disorders is heavy, ADHD, anxiety. I think that's all sparked by food, right? So the FDA is a definite culprit, and how, they play a part in people's lifestyle, of course, but there's things you can control. And I'm all about what can I do? If I need to eat less in a day to elongate my lifestyle, that's an easy, non-nonsense type of way of living. I started fasting when I was a kid from a religious space, but I took that and I'm like, no, this is also a health, it's more of a health conscientious space to, you know, limit my intake on a certain schedule. And it's nothing stringent, like it's nothing strict. Like you just do it, you get into a rhythm. Like last night I stopped eating. I had a piece of cake. I had a piece of cake very light, like around 9:30. You know, I'm not gonna eat for the next hour, hour and a half, right? It's going into the early afternoon. So, but I'm not starving when I'm doing something productive, talking to you guys. But my mind is not like I need to eat something. Eating is social, I get it. But man, if I think about having to take medicine or being terminally ill in the next 10, 15, 20 years and just saying no to food for a couple hours, it sounds made up. But all these studies are coming out now. All of these studies are coming out. All of them. And it's been happening. It's been happening for the last 8 to 10 years. IF, intermittent fasting, intermittent fasting, intermittent fasting. And the science is there. Look up autophagy. Look up BNFD. And I could have butchered that acronym. But look up these things. There's a way for preventation. Nobody's trying to live forever, but you don't have to live and just get affected by just the environment. and what people are manufacturing, it doesn't have to be that way if you can control what you can control and take those steps to understand, you know, what prevention really looks like. Understanding just to stay away from certain things. Less is more concept. Saying no to a lot of stuff can keep you alive, right? And that's even with food. That's just consumption. That's physical consumption. It's insane. I'm hearing about COVID. I'm hearing about vaccines. Like people, you know, there have been 13 billion vaccines administered to people around the world, and 70% has taken more than one shot. And now they're having all these studies where autopsies are coming in and post-COVID deaths are related to the COVID shot. And you have people 3, 4, and obviously, almost 5 years ago saying, take this shot, do this, take this shot. You can't take the shot, you can't go back to work. You can't take the shot, you can't go on a plane. You can't take the shot, you can't go outside, right? Like it's crazy. I thought about, okay, is this population control? is this something we're not seeing? Like, is this, a spiritual thing? And it's like, nah, I'm just thinking it's big pharma. Big pharma. People, bottom line, people need people to be sick. People need people to be dependent on a product. It's all consumption based. People need to be sick. People need people to be unhealthy. That's how you get investors in people's medicine. Pfizer, Myrna, right? You get investors to people's medicine, right? You could mass produce. It's bottom line shit, right? Why in the hell am I gonna take a shot? I don't even take flu shots. I don't believe in none of that stuff, man. Why in the hell would I take a COVID shot? Because we're in the system of desensitization. We must do this because that's what the higher ups say. Gotta free your mind, man. I know people who died in better, at least physical condition than me, died taking that shot. Younger than me. And the only difference is they took a shot. And obviously people had long-lasting effects, right? People don't feel the same. People who took the shot got strokes. At my age, in my age group, it's insanity. I don't want to get to a point where I need to look for a cure or another option or a solution. Like, how do I prevent? I say this all the time. Like, how do I make sure I'm being proactive and doing the right things, especially with my health? Like how do I do that? Well, you do that with isolating sometimes your mind. You do that with just saying no to certain things. Hold off on it. Let me think about it. Let me look into it myself. Let me see what affects my circle, right? My body, my health, my mind, right? If I were to do this or not do this, right? Whether it's taking a pill, whether it's taking a shot, right? Whether it's taking some sort of therapy, right? Because you don't, like, it's not just I have one life. Like, we all understand that, and nobody's trying to live forever. But it like, how is my days affected? People, when you say yes to something, like one choice, and it could be small. Taking a needle is small. Taking a pill is small, right? But when you say yes to something, you don't really understand the ramifications, the day-to-day, the hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute ramifications on just jumping head into something, man. And it affects people. It's with everything. It's everything. I'm more talking about, health, right? And medical, like, oppressions, but this is everything. Like, how do I be proactive and sustain my life? It's the less is more concept. Saying no, holding off, and not indulging it's the difference between 30 and 40 years of a lot of people's life. That is so powerful to me. So let me know in the comments if you think it's powerful too, man. Let me know. I take my life seriously. We don't see a lot of stuff in life because we're so caught up in just day-to-day bullcrap, right? But to escape the rat race, the mental rat race of life, and whatever you're doing that's not allowing you to get to your goals and dreams, I mean, you got to sustain your life physically. You got to be healthy, right? It's not just mentally. You got to be physically healthy, So people got to take a second step. Just think about stuff they do. This stuff is out here and this stuff is real. I've been saying a lot of this stuff for the last couple of years. And you know what? Everybody got to go through their own trial, man. So, but at the end of the day, hopefully the decisions that we do make, because we're human and we make mistakes, but we're human and we don't know everything, right? The goal is how do we mitigate detrimental or lifelong consequences? And I think if we could do that, we could start with that. I think we're in a good spot. Peace. Free your mind, man.